Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening's Highways and General Purposes meeting on Wednesday, the 20th of March 2024. First item on the agenda are apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Bacini, Clay and Stallard, and Councillor Scully, who I think is away on holiday still. Item 2 on the agenda are declarations of interest. Notwithstanding this, members can declare an interest later on. Does anyone have any declarations of interest? No? Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. To confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the Highways and General Purposes meeting held on the 20th of December and the 7th of February. Can I have a show of hands for the 20th of December initially, please? Yeah, okay. Make sure I sign the right one. That's the wrong one. I'll sign this one. Thank you. And for those that were present, can I, in fact, we have... No, you won't. But there's 3, yeah. So can I have a show of hands? Thank you, Joe. For those that were present. Thank you. That's not the date, that's my signature in the wrong box. Thank you. Okay, item 4, Highways and General Purposes projects to receive and review. Does anyone have any comments on them? No comments? I will thank the clerk for bringing those all to date. Sorry, my computer is now having a funny 5. Just bear with me a second until I get back to where I should be. Thank you. Okay. So moving on to item 5 is public participation. There are no members of the public here, so there is no need for the session. Item 6 is police beat surgery feedback. We've received some feedback via Denmead Neighbourhood Watch Coordinator after the recent beat surgery on Saturday the 10th of February. I did discuss and determine action. Anyone have any comments? No? Okay.
Sorry, Chair. Just on the Safer Neighbourhoods panel, we now have a local police officer, a named police officer, PC Brown, I think is his name. Screenshot it today, I think. So could we possibly invite them to our meeting?
Okay, that's not actually on the agenda, but...
no, but it's on the report.
Yes.
So it's on the project report
If you
with a list of actions.
if you can pass the details to the clerk, and then I'm sure they'll be invited. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is Forest Road speeding measures. to receive an update from Hampshire Highways on the proposed speed emissions to discuss and determine action. Do we have any further update from...
No, not apart from the supporting document.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments on Councillor West?
I probably someone doing another safety analysis if we can have money to build it.
This is my fear. Councillor Andreoli.
Yeah, I'd say something similar. I don't know, deciding to move stuff. It goes back another 6 to 12 months probably.
With Councillor Langford-Smith.
I did send an email requesting that they contact me with regards to an urgent meeting to discuss the amendments, the proposed amendments, and pointing out that they should have discussed those amendments with the Parish Council since it's our SIL money. And I suggested that Councillor Andreoli and I should meet with them urgently yesterday afternoon. We've received no response at all. So I left a voicemail this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Andreoli.
just to say that last week, Southern Parishes, where the leader of Hampshire County Council came to speak, myself and the chairman of John Woodman, chairman of, I can't remember, both of us complained about the length of time it took for such projects to go via Havant. He actually made a note whether anything will happen is another matter, but we are not the only parish that is suffering from the length of time it takes to get various things like this done.
Okay, I think if committee is minded, we should write as strongly word a letter as we can, pointing out the fact that this is now at least 5 years on from where we were looking at the greenway conversion into making them cycleways, which was the first spend of money that we had. Now we've gone to this, now they're moving it on again. And point out, as Councillor West has said, that the pot of money is getting spent on looking into things and nothing is being done. Councillor Langford-Smith.
I'm happy to draft a letter for agreement by committee outside of council, and I suggested it should go to Alfred Naughty, who is, I'm just looking up what his actual role is. He is the client manager for Capital Scheme Delivery at Hampshire.
Okay, and would we also copy in Lucy Whittington, who is the project officer? Is everyone happy that we do that, and we'll agree the wording of the letter outside of committee? Show of hands, please. Thank you. Was that what were you voting, Councillor Andreoli?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, item 8 on the agenda is Auto Speed Watch the device. To discuss moving the device to an alternative location, which will not be disclosed, to discuss and determine action. Can we be mindful of the fact that we do not wish to disclose as this is being recorded? So the proposal is to put it in a different location. It's been removed from Wow Hill, where it was, which unfortunately a lot of people found out where it was, to a different location, which we have spoken to the people who deal with the data, and they have looked at the location. There were a couple of queries about potential shading, but as the daylight is quite good, I think hopefully it won't cause such an issue. To discuss and determine action. Councillor West.
Did Well Hill have street lighting?
No.
Right, so this location doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't need street lighting. It can take a picture in the dark anyway.
Yeah.
It will use, if a number plate is correct, it will use a reflection of the number plate.
And the other questions, I can't see any furniture on there we'll attach it to. We've got bar and pot.
We do have a post in position that it can be attached to in the location.
Right.
And the photo is taken for me.
Oh,
I think
Oh, fair.
that's the photo. And there they've actually put the post, so that's how we're going to start.
oh, so that we put the post up there.
Yes.
Not that
Yeah, there is a post in the location we're looking to put it. Councillor Andreoni.
I noticed they mentioned the solar boost option. This is something that they've come up with since we complained that they
No,
hadn't
No,
done.
the solar boost option
We've
is
got
the
that.
solar panel we have on the top of it already.
So,
Their next option, I think, was effectively a power pack that was on the ground to power it for longer. We never had a problem during summer hours. It was never a problem with the battery side of things. It's something that we do need to still chase up with them for winter time because of obviously the lack of light and the length of charge that it can get. Councillor West.
something I had a comment on this. Is it a known speed and area, or is it just someone complaining that I get cars coming down there fast?
Amwell Road has always been a speed.
Wouldn't say where you can
So yes. There are a number of speeding areas in the village that we have been told about. I would propose that we accept the new location and put the speed camera up or speed device there and watch the results from it. I'll second it. Thank you. And a show of hands, please. That's unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Andrew.
It's too late for this agenda, but again, at Southern Parishes, Councillor Woodman mentioned that several other parishes were looking to purchase, and some had purchased these, and several had purchased two, and we're doing speed, average speed calculations with them. So might be something we might want to think about in the future.
Yeah, I did note that, and we have put in motion contacting the suppliers to see whether our machine can be adapted to work in that way, or if it means a new system. But we are asking that question at the moment. Okay, item 9 on the agenda: speed indicator devices. To consider having 2 of the speed indicator devices recalibrated at a cost of £165 plus the VAT. Westcote have provided a recommended maintenance schedule to discuss and determine action. I note your hand, Councillor Langford Smith. The email that comes back from Westcote says that they can, to get some more information from the person complaining that the devices are inaccurate. Whenever I've been past any of them, they always read the same mileage or same speed on my car. So I don't actually think there is a problem. Some cars, we have it when we used to do speed watch with the big sign, community speed watch with the big sign. Some cars it just won't pick up, just by the angle of the screen or what it reflects off of. It just doesn't pick some cars up properly. I'll let Councillor Langford Smith speak and then...
Thank you, Chair. I was about to say exactly the same thing whenever I've gone along and the cars come whizzing up behind me. It flashes for them, it doesn't flash, but it flashes a smiley face for me. I don't think there is a problem with the calibration.
I would propose that we, if we can, we get the information that they've asked for from the person who has complained, give it to them, and they said there may be something that can be done in-house, but I don't feel that they need to go away for calibration at the moment. I don't think there is a great problem with them. Councillor West.
How would you get information? How are they going to record the speed of the cars going by?
Say again, sorry.
How would the resident or the complaining record the speed of the car going by?
How
do they know the speed of the car through in reading what that machine's doing?
he said he's been past the speed sign in more than once, and it's given different readings with his speedo saying the same. Councillor Kane.
That's quite normal. There's a lot of leeway
Yes.
within. I mean, I can go up to 73 and not get flashed on 70.
Yeah. My.
You know, it just depends what you know.
Yeah.
How the calibration works for your particular vehicle.
My truck will read 32 on my speedo, and it reads 29 on the sign. So there is a discrepancy. Councillor Andrioli.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I came past the one on Forest Road 2 days ago, and as I approached it, it said 31 frown, then 30 smiley, and then 29 smiley. I hadn't changed. I was on my speed. What's it?
Cruise control.
Cruise control. So the car wasn't changing speed at all. But so it in a few seconds it told me I was doing 3 different speeds, and they're not gospel.
No. Councillor West.
I would suggest that we tell them that we've checked ourselves by Dunbarton, but I wouldn't request that they give us evidence, because then all they need to do that is they'll take a photograph, which means they're using the front of the driver or under some of the driver. So I would suggest we don't ask for that.
Okay. Councillor Langford Smith.
I'd just like to point out that it's an indication. We're not using it to issue fines or anything like that, and so provided it's there or thereabouts, it's doing what it needs to do.
Okay. So we have a proposal that we, I'll take it as a proposal that we don't ask the member of the public for information to provide, and that the signs are as an advisory. They are not a legal sign as such. Is everyone happy with that?
And not to have them calibrated.
And not to have them calibrated. Yeah. Everyone happy? Can I have a show of hands? Thank you. That's unanimous as well. Thank you very much. Sign licence. Whilst we were discussing, the clerk was chasing up about some street furniture. We have been told by Hampshire Highways that we need to have, or they asked for our copy of an S72 licence to put the speed indicator signs on the highway. As far as we know, we haven't got one. The signs have been going up for numerous years, probably longer than I've been on council. I've asked, it's to consider and determine action, but I will propose that we apply for the correct licence to have them on the road. Councillor Langford Smith.
I've looked online and I can't find a section 72 licence anywhere, so I think probably Hampshire need to provide us with the relevant forms.
Councillor West.
Oh, so that is something did form first and check it.
Yeah.
It could be something that is used for, but if you have a skip on the highway, you can apply for a permit.
Yeah.
It's not actually called a license for your permit. So, but I would suggest we give it first, look at what the requirements are.
Okay, so I'll take it as a proposal. We ask the clerk to get the form, and then we take it from there. If it's a straightforward form, I would also propose that we get the clerk to fill it in. Or would you want to see it at committee?
But I want to see it first. That's
Okay, yeah.
If I have an expert on it.
Yeah, that's fine. Councillor Langford
I
Smith.
suspect also there'll be a fee attached if it's Hampshire.
Okay, so if we ask the clerk to find out what the form that we need and bring it back to the next meeting. Okay, can I have a show of hands for that, please? That's unanimous again. Thank you. Item 11 is Forest Gate finial posts. To review a number of arms and wording on each arm, there are 3 directions from Forest Gate. Hampshire Highways have also advised that they will only permit 2 destinations per arm to discuss and determine action. Councillor Langford Smith.
Councillor Andrioli and I have driven past a sign today, and I noted that it had 3 destinations on one arm. We've also got signposts that have 3 destinations in the village. And the reason that I suggested 4 arms is because we also have a signpost that has 5 arms on it, and that's at a crossroads. So it's an indication of the direction of an area. It's not I think they're being very, very prescriptive. We've got plenty of examples of what we've asked for in the details here.
Okay.
I'm guessing that the contentious one is Arm 2, which is Mayswell 3/4, Sawyers Hill 1 and the Crossways 1 1/4. Are they saying we can't have 4 arms? Or is it that we just can't have 3 destinations on 1 arm?
They were more concerned about the destinations, I think.
So that or reading that, or reading that, many arms, but no more than 3 destinations per arm, yeah.
In which case then,
Two destinations per arm.
yeah, 2
Oh,
destinations.
that makes sense, yeah.
In which case I would propose that we take out the Crossways 1 1/4. If they're insisting.
But we go for 4 arms.
Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor Kane.
Can I ask why removing Crossways in particular?
Just because Mayswell and Sawyers Hill are closer. So the point of the post and finial rings are they're supposed to point you to the next post and finial ring. And so Mayswell is 3/4 of a mile from this proposed one at Forest Gate. And then Sawyers Hill one is 1 mile, but the Crossways is even further. So both Mayswell and Sawyers Hill will point to the Crossways anyway. So
I was just thinking that in the recent period when Animal Road was closed, actually something that pointed to the Crossways would have been quite useful. Would have been quite useful because it's been a particularly heavily used lane during this period. So just a thought that Animal Road is likely to have a lot of disruption if Quinn comes along. It might be a useful point to have.
Councillor West.
well, it would still be the same arm because it's pointing in the same direction. You know where this one is actually going at Forest Gate, so it's right further up the.
Councillor West.
So it would be the same direction, but it would be 2 arms with 1 or 2 locations from the 1 arm.
The problem you're going to get is that if you're going to have, you're then going to end up with 5 arms, and even if they interlink them, you're still going to have a depth down the post.
You will see 1 or 5 arms.
Yeah, we've got at the bottom of School Lane, where Broadway Lane is, and Dirty Lane, that's got 5 arms on it. But there are only 4 locations, or 4 destinations from on there. Councillor Langford-Smith.
We were hoping that this was going to be one of the ones similar to the one that's at Barn Green on the village green. So a rather more ornate post, which is as they would have been when they were first made. The one where you're talking about near down at the end of School Lane is one of the just straight posts, so there is more area for there to be more fingers.
I think the consensus is that we want all of the locations on there, so if we can go back to them and ask for if the extra arms will fit on there and be sensible on the post in effect. Councillor Kane.
I don't feel so strongly about it. I was just trying to understand what the rationale was because I just knew how much traffic was using that lane recently. It might have been a useful thing.
Yeah.
That's what I really think if we can fit on that, I think we should.
Okay. So, Councillor Langford-Smith.
I'm happy to go and take photographs of the posts that have got 3 names on them so that we can go back to Hampshire with the examples, if that would be helpful.
Is everyone happy with that? Yeah. So if we go back, if Councillor Langford-Smith can supply the clerk with some photos with the arms that show 3 locations, and then we, if they still only say 2, we look into whether we can fit 5 arms onto the post and how much that will cost. Everyone happy with that? Show of hands, please.
Sorry, can I just make an amendment to that? So rather than go for 5 arms, we could take out Sawyers Hill and put the Crossways in. So you've got Mayswell 3/4, Crossways 1 1/4.
Okay.
I'm just thinking cost-wise, if if you're making an extra finger, it will add to the cost.
Councillor West.
I'm not personally too bothered about the cost. I think if let's see what we can get on it first. I think because we've done it for every other one, we've done it without cutting anything out, so it's not start cutting that. Just see what we can get on it.
Okay.
And we can't get on it because that's different.
Okay. And are we happy to, if the clerk can get, once the, mind you, it probably wants to come back to the next meeting, is everyone happy with that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Item 12 on the agenda is Beer Road parking issues. You will see emails from the resident and photographs of the destruction of the verges and also safety issues for children crossing when there's so many cars around. There was another email came in this evening, I think, from reference Amwell Road parking again, I think there was. Beer Road parking, sorry. Yeah, it took someone 15 minutes to get in their own driveway through people being parked across the road, across the entrance. Councillor Lancashire-Smith.
Councillor Andrioli and I were at the health conference all day today, and we had a presentation from Councillor Humby, who's leader of Hampshire County Council. He was explaining that 90% or just under 90% of Hampshire's entire budget is spent on adult and child care, adult social care. So there is very, very little money remaining to do things like potholes. I think it's highly unlikely that they would put any money towards doing any work that we would like. They are only doing statutory, providing statutory services. Anything else is a nice to have or on a wish list. It's just not getting done. I mean, things like school crossing patrols are being taken away, so...
Yeah, I take that. With what was announced this week in the fact that they can now, people can apply for councils to put in zones where there are no cars allowed during school hours apart from residents. That's something that is potentially coming in, which would effectively stop this, because it moves the problem elsewhere, but that is something that could come in and is asked for. Councillor West.
Two things. Really, there's nothing we can do about it as per council, is there? But if the resident gets paid for the way lines are painted across their driveways, or across their driveways, and that's illegal to park at the border, please. And as far as statutory, that is highways land. That is now a trip. If someone falls over this and damages that highway, will be liable, so they should come and fill the ruts in.
Okay, Councillor Lancashire-Smith.
I was trying to think of what we could do. We could speak with Hampshire, possibly about a licence to cultivate the verges around there, but then obviously we would then have to do the grass cutting. But maybe they would allow us to put in dragon's teeth and possibly plant trees, which would also stop people parking on there. We've got trees.
Sorry to stop you. Two things with that. I think they have to go a metre back from the edge of the road anyway, which would probably not stop people parking on there, because that's where we asked them to go by the roundabouts at Hatchmore, and they wouldn't put them in there. Councillor West, did you have something?
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, we had the same sort of problem. I mean, where we were involved, but we were told that it is actually illegal to block any part of the highways if it's not part of the highways. So when people put on their logs out on their driveways and things like that, that is actually illegal to do. So without us being under that, I don't think we could put anything on it.
Oh, Councillor Andrioli, sorry.
Carrying on from Councillor West said, we did actually put an article in Dead Meat Scene a few years ago, so pointing out to residents that putting stones and logs on the edge of their driveway was actually illegal, and please stop doing it. So
I wrote it.
Yeah, so I think it would be wouldn't be something we could do.
I would take up on what Councillor West said just now about the fact that the ruts are now a health and safety issue in effect, and we write to Hampshire saying that they are a health and safety issue. It won't alleviate parking, but they might have to do something and might think about, if they keep on having to come out and do it, it might make them think about what they can do. Councillor Andrioli.
And Hampshire have just given themselves permission to put in a pre and post school facility in the junior school grounds. It's going to get worse in terms of parents bringing children to and from. So,
Councillor West.
So you'll probably find as well that like most areas, if you keep complaining about it, they take the grass away and they just pay it. So you could end up with a worse situation or not so pretty situation, if you like. So.
Yeah, I think some of the complaint as well is not just about the verges and the state that they're in, it's the danger for children crossing. That's the other issue that's being brought up, and having to cross between parked cars and things. So there is more than one issue here. Is everyone happy that we write to Hampshire and ask them to look at it under a health and safety issue as a trip hazard, and then see if they'll do something from that? Yep, can I have a show of hands for that? That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 13 is Cemetery Lane and Burial Ground car park resurfacing. To review a quote from DT, who are the contractors that are doing the burial ground resurfacing, Cemetery Lane resurfacing and the car park. This is to do the piece between the end of the tarmac, in effect, along the original burial ground and north. No, I can never get this right. And the first two burial grounds. It's the old burial grounds and Northfield, isn't it?
The new burial ground and then Northfield.
Yes. It's that stretch that is basically two lines of tarmac that go through. It's to sort out that whilst we're having the rest of it done. Councillor West.
Well, I looked it up. When I sent an email saying that when we put the tender out, we asked them specifically in the tender to supply rates should we ask for extra work to be done.
Yes.
And that's what they've done on this one. I checked the tarmac rate is the same as what their original quote was. After it's out with the timber rate, but it's about £100 more than what they said. So I would say that's about the rate that we would have expected and asked for. So yeah, I'm happy for that.
Okay. So I'll propose that we accept the quote. I'll presume that's a second for the quote, and we get the whole thing done in one hit, rather than having two good bits of area and a poor bit. Councillor Langford-Smith.
We're inconveniencing residents by having the works done anyway, so it would be logical to me that we do it all at the same time.
Okay. Can I have a show of hands then to accept the quote from DT? Thank you. And they are starting on Friday. Okay, item 4 on the agenda is burial ground. Item 14. 14.1 is to note the list of applications since the last committee meeting. 14.2 is a non-resident burial inquiry to consider request of a non-resident burial in an existing double-depth plot, so a second interment, and a non-resident's permit fee to be charged for these. The previous permit fee previously was applied of £1,825 to discuss and determine action. The reason we've had to bring this back is because we obviously don't allow anyone to be buried that's no non-resident anymore, so we took it off of our regulations. We took the fee off of our regulations. But obviously when they've already got an existing grave, we still need to be able to charge a fee for that, for a second interment. So, Councillor Langford-Smith.
I think this was an unintended consequence of us taking off or not allowing non-residents because we're running out of land.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this compromises our supply, so I would propose that we do allow it.
Okay, and we also add those costs back into our burial ground regulations so that they are, we can use them as an ongoing method.
Those costs there.
Uh,
The previous ones
the
that we used.
the previous cost that we used, sorry,
Yep.
yes. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Show of hands, please. Thank you. That's unanimous again. 14.3 is memorial safety testing. Further to minute reference 033/22H 11 to consider the safety testing of memorials. Also to consider obtaining another faculty licence if required to discuss and determine action. To do the safety testing, we have to have apply for a licence from the faculty. We did have them tested before. I'll ask the clerk, how long is it supposed to be done with 3 years, the testing,
I
or
don't
is there
know.
no recommendation?
I don't know.
Okay. I feel that we had the testing done. Half the people we couldn't get hold of to secure the memorials anyway. Some of them we were talking about laying down, but I don't know if anything else actually happened. So I'm not minded to spend money on another safety test if our ground staff don't think there are any issues of anything toppling at the moment.
So
Councillor
why
West.
has this come back up then? It must have been an issue previously.
It's the clerk has been going through previous emails
Yeah.
and seen it there, and the fact that we haven't had one for a period of time, but it was the only one it's the only one that was ever done anyway. I don't.
Was the testing actually carried out?
Yes, it was.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember one before being carried out. Councillor Andreoli.
I'm pretty certain there was one before you joined council,
Okay.
Chair. And I have to say, I disagree with you
Okay.
in terms of we need to. I think we need to ensure that the headstones in the Alban memorials, it's not just headstones. I mean, there are some big ones. Are safe for members of the public to walk past, or even members of the relevant family to, go to a grave, put some flowers on, and the headstone falls on you. I think we should be making sure that isn't going to happen.
Okay. Councillor Kane.
I wonder if it's worth considering it in a while, because the ground is exceptionally wet, and that impacting the clay might make it much more appropriate to be doing it in the summer months when that's all moved around.
Hopefully dry.
Otherwise you might want to do it then again.
Yes. Councillor Langford Smith.
The minute that we are being referred to, 03322H, was from September 21 minutes. And we know that we had the topple test done following that. And it says that topple tests should have a regime in place. The recommendation is that memorials should be tested every 5 years. So we're not due to do another one until 2026.
Okay. Councillor West.
Is there a procedure laid out for this ethic? I'm assuming you just don't walk up and give it a shake.
There was a procedure. It was done by a professional company that do this testing. It wasn't our ground staff that did it. Councillor Kane.
If the recommendation from these people who are experienced and professional in this role suggests that the next test should be done in 2026 unless we see an obvious problem, that would seem the best way forward. And will be a defensible position unless there's some
Do
obvious issue.
I take that as a proposal?
Oh.
Sorry, Councillor.
So while I agree with that as a normal thing, like our graveyard is so wet that it's probably exceptional, so it won't be that it is worth bringing it forward to check it. So it is, like you say, we know what it's like, and in fact the amount of water we've had there and the amount of issues we've had with some of the graves,
The only problem I see with that is that if we bring it forward because it's really wet, if we keep on getting wetter winters, we'll keep on bringing it more and more forward, and we have shorter times between them. If it's recommended by a professional company, we can't be the only burial ground that suffers the same situation that we do. And our ground staff are in the burial ground, and I'm sure if they were to notice an issue with something that looked like it was a problem, they would bring it to our attention.
Yeah. Already so that we have we've got no benchmark. We've done once and that's been it. So obviously if we manage to do another one, sort of state that it was after the exception where we've had now, if we think it's holding up, then we can say, okay, now we will stick to the 5-year plan. If it looks like we've got an issue and we need to bring it forward for a year for health and safety reasons, I don't think we've got a choice.
The only issue with it we have is that a lot of the problems that were found with the memorial testing, there's no one to contact to find out basically to get the work carried out. A lot of the people especially in the old burial ground, there are no contact details for them anymore. Councillor Langford-Smith.
No, but in that event, we had to pay for it to be done, because if they were unsafe, we had to pay to make them safe, because we had no way of contacting the relatives, and they were unsafe, so we had to do it. So the parish paid.
Okay. Councillor Langford.
As I recall, getting the appropriate faculty takes at least 6 months. So I would suggest that we start getting a faculty, and come budgeting time at the end of this 6 months' time, we put in the budget to do a total test in the financial year after the one we've just started.
I'm happy with that, but I don't think we need to put money in the budget, because
That's true.
burial ground is self-funding.
Sorry, I'll withdraw that bit. I've forgotten that.
Councillor West.
Before we apply for another one, should we just see how long this one lasts?
How long?
The license expired.
I don't know how long it lasts.
No, we need to check it might be 10 years.
Okay. So, with Councillor West's proposal that we look into the licence to see if it's expired, and then if it has expired, we then go for applying for another faculty licence to carry out the TOEFL test, and then we see what the results are from that. Is that a summary of everyone's points? Yeah, everyone happy? Show of hands for that. Thank you. Okay, 14.4, Rookwood Nature Scattering Site, to retrospectively ratify the quotation of £1,495 plus VAT to conduct a survey and prepare a report for the trees present and how they may be impacted. This was for the planning application for change of use, and it was something that was asked for, and by majority outside of this committee we agreed to spend it, so it's to ratify that decision. We can have a show of hands that everyone in favour. That's unanimous as well. Thank you. 14.5, backfilling of graves. To consider the advice received from the Institute of Cemetery and Cremation Management, Cemetery Development Services and TGMS Cemeteries for future backfilling, to discuss and determine action. Anyone? Councillor West.
So the issue that I saw down there was nothing to do with, it was also the way it was backfilled. It was as simple as that. It wasn't done, it wasn't compacted, it was just thrown in. So I agree with them that you should always compact stuff in layers. I also agree that you should only do it at 8-inch layers. And you've got coffins, and you don't want to be breaking the coffin and damaging the coffin, which is why I suggested that we use like a non-compactable material to a certain height of being, things like gravel. So you don't have to compact it, it sits there. It allows the drainage to go through, and then you can start compacting on top of it in layers.
Okay. Councillor Andrew.
And we looked into the possible cost of adding the gypsum, as one of them suggests.
We haven't got a cost of adding that at the moment, no.
And then gypsum.
That was what one of them said.
Oh, I don't know, it's gypsum to me transport.
One of them suggested applying 15 kilograms of gypsum between each layer of compacting.
Okay, Councillor Kane.
So presumably, if this is the appropriate way to go forward, we would have to add this into our fees because of the additional cost.
Yes, there would be.
So the actual cost isn't going to be a cost to the council. It's going to be a cost to the family arrangement burial.
Yes, we normally pass all extra all costs on to each burial. Councillor Langford-Smith.
I think we need to ask our supplier or our service provider to put the layers in, to do it in smaller layers as opposed to huge great bucketfuls of solid lumps of clay, which is what the problem was.
I can understand that, but it's probably quite difficult to do when it's been pulled out in big lumps. They've either got to stand there and break it up, which is probably not feasible for them.
Clay is very notoriously difficult to, very hard to get rid of. There's only certain tips that will take it away. But it's very difficult to put back in as well. I mean, there are testing methods you do, but nobody does it because it's too stupid. Basically, you pick up and roll in your hands and it doesn't fall apart. Once it reaches the pencil side, it doesn't go back in. But if we roll it up there and it cracks, even though it falls apart, you can't put it back in. And if it falls apart, you can't put it back in. So it's a ridiculous way of doing it, but it's very, very difficult to actually compact clay because of its nature, its weight. You sort of press down on it, it goes up here, it goes up there. So I don't know, just in my own mind, I have it that if we put a layer of non-compactable material above the coffin, and then we can actually start compacting it, there should be no movement within that bit. And they can put it in, they can push it down in their bucket, but they need to make sure that they're filling out to it. It's no good having a whole lot of land just through the middle. It's got to be, you've got to physically move it out to the sides. So, I mean, I would suggest probably what they do with that was just put it in the bucket as much as they can and walk away from it, which is not good at all.
No. In what came back, it actually said that basically no one has asked the question before. I think that's the gist of the information that came back. As we said, we're not looking to put something in there that's a non-natural product. So something like gravel or something in there, which would actually improve the soil or improve it anyway.
It improves drainage.
Yeah. Councillor Langford-Smith.
I did suggest sand to them when I met with them on site. Could they mix the clay with sand and then put it into...
Our grave diggers are not going to want to stand there and have a ton bag of sand, mix it with clay, which won't really mix, and then put it back in the hole. All they want to do is fill the hole back in and leave. Councillor Langford-Smith.
We're paying them to provide us with a service, and they did agree when we were stood at the graveside that something needs to be done about it because that this can't happen.
No.
So they are aware that something needs to happen, and if that's an instruction that they need to fill it in smaller layers, then that's what we need to ask them to do. And if that increases the price, then so be it, because I'm sure people would rather pay a bit more and not have their loved one's grave collapse.
Councillor Kane.
I think the only way you're going to be able to do that then is if it's removed in smaller layers, which at least gives you some cutting up of the clay to start with. I mean, we've got this awful clay you can't mix it, you couldn't ask them to mix it with sand as far as I can tell, or with gravel. you can't mix it. That's the problem, it chunks.
Yeah, the idea with the gravel was to put basically put the casket in the hole, fill round the sides of the casket, and then come up to a level above. It wasn't to actually mix it in, but then once that's done, as Councillor West said, you could then put the clay back in and actually compact it down, which would then stabilise the upper layers. Councillor West.
Again, you're right, make it smaller layers, but effectively, when you're digging out clay, it doesn't matter what size you dig, as you dig it, it will just fall up. So if you're taking a 6 foot by foot wide, you'll end up with a 6 foot by 1 foot wide lump of clay, which you then still got to break down, which you can't compact. So the only way to do it is not put it back into it properly, but then it is the cost of getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Councillor's emphasis, and I just said that we fill around the casket and above the casket, so say over 200 millimetres with shingle. Yeah.
Okay.
Non-compactable, so it's fine. And then when they put the clay back in, they put it in as small as possible, ensuring that they are pushing it in, because they will get a different bucket, push it in against the sides to stop the sides collapse from filling any voids.
Okay. 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 So we have a second proposal. We ask our grave diggers to get some shingle. Is there a certain size of shingle that you think would be best, or
No, you know,
whatever?
in fairness, you want big shingles, 6-1 dairy, some of the 20mm shingles, the standard, it's big enough, it will go around it, and it's probably the cheaper though.
Okay.
Before we vote, Chair, can I sort of ask a question that Councillor West maybe he would answer, but what effect is that going to have on a double depth plot, which when somebody which may need to be open to another burial?
I wouldn't have thought it would do, because I'm only suggesting we go say 200 millimetres above the coffin to give the coffin protection from compaction.
Okay, I just wondered if it's going to cause us a problem with it.
I don't think it would do, because we don't dig down to the top of the
You don't go down. You don't go down to the actual.
No, well, I mean, I don't know what depth above the first coffin they go to. It might actually make life easier, I suspect. But
Possibly, yeah.
sorry, carry on.
Councillor Kane.
If it was, my parents were a double depth hole, whatever the right expression is. Thank you. And my father was second in, and we drowned him rather than buried him.
Okay.
Because it was a January burial.
Yeah.
So it was a very, I mean, we'd still friends out of it, luckily.
Yeah.
But so I don't honestly think whatever we do will make very much difference at the end of the day when it's at those times of year when it's very
I think the main problem is where we're digging a double depth grave is trying to get the stability of the bottom of the ground.
Yeah.
When we're taking less depth out, higher up, don't have such an issue with the weight coming in on it. That's where I get. Councillor Lang. Councillor Andrew Overley.
Yes, quite. It occurs to me that suggestion of shingle around and above the coffin will actually help with drainage, will help actually in terms of there's an area for the clay to drain into somewhat.
It won't help at all because you're in a pot. You're basically in a hole of clay that you just put some gravel in. It probably won't make any difference to it.
We have a proposal.
We have a proposal that we ask our grave diggers to use an appropriate shingle, roughly 20mm shingle, to go round the grave of the casket and to a depth of 200mm above.
Yeah, that's generally things get compacted in layers of 8 inches.
Yeah.
And to pass the cost on to us.
And to pass the cost on to
Are we going to pass it on to the customer?
and we will be passing it on to the
Fees, need to amend the fees at the next
amend the
meeting.
fees, yes.
Yeah.
I would suggest that we stick with the training on normal side, don't then go to 50 mil, because you end up with what
Yeah.
back then.
Is everyone happy with that? Show of hands. Thank you. You've got all that, Chair. Yeah. Okay, 14.6 fee amendments to consider an increase of £200 of the current grave digging fee of £800 for the second full burial interment. Reopening or a single depth full burial interment to account for the removal and disposal of spoil. I would propose that we postpone this until the next meeting, and because we're going to have to adjust it again, because if we're not putting as much back in because we're putting gravel in, they may want to adjust the costs to us of how much it is to take it away.
And they'll need to add the cost of gravel.
And the cost of gravel. So I propose that we postpone this to the next meeting. Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Next Highways meeting will be held on the 15th of May. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joe.